Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how we do things here. We take fascinating topics and really get into the weeds. And today is a good one.
I think it's safe to say that this one might really surprise some folks.
For sure. We're doing a deep dive on something that, honestly, most of us probably try to avoid. Boredom.
The dreaded B word.
Right. But stick with us because we're taking excerpts from this piece. It's called, you guessed it, The Power of Boredom. And it's going to flip your perspective on its head. Seriously.
This piece argues that boredom, something we usually see as a negative, as unproductive, can actually be a powerful tool. A tool for creativity, for coming up with new ideas, even for innovation.
I gotta admit, my initial reaction is like, wait, what? How can spacing out doing nothing lead to, brilliant breakthroughs?
It's all about giving your mind the space to wander, to make these connections that it wouldn't be able to if it was constantly being bombarded with stimulation.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Think about it. You're scrolling through your phone, you're watching TV, you're always on, always plugged in. Your brain is just going through these, predictable patterns.
You're not really giving it a chance to, think outside the box.
Exactly. Boredom, on the other hand, it's like hitting the reset button. It clears out all that noise and makes room for those aha moments.
Okay, that makes sense. But do we actually have proof that boredom can lead to, actual creative output?
The source actually cites this super interesting study from the University of Central Lancashire. They had participants do this really boring task, just copying numbers from a phone book.
Sounds thrilling.
Right. But the thing is, those who did that boring task actually did way better on creative tasks afterward than those who had done, more engaging activities beforehand.
So it's like their brains were simmering on something in the background while they were bored.
Yeah, it allowed their minds to kind of incubate ideas. But I know what you're thinking.
There's got to be a catch, right?
Well, the source does address a really valid concern, and that's that boredom can easily slip into procrastination.
Or mindless scrolling. We've all been there.
Totally. So it's not about just passively waiting for a stroke of genius. You have to be deliberate about it. Create space in your day for unstructured thinking.
So a boredom zone. Sounds kind of funny, but I get it.
Exactly. Maybe it's 15 minutes where you just sit and stare out the window. Or a walk in the park without your phone.
The phone thing is key, right? I feel like that's the ultimate boredom killer.
It's definitely a big one. But also think about those times when you're forced to be bored. Waiting in line, commuting those little pockets of time.
Instead of immediately grabbing your phone, just let your mind wander.
Right. You never know what you might come up with. But, and that the source really emphasizes this, not all boredom is created equal.
Oh, there are different flavors of boredom.
Sort of. There's that restless, impatient kind of boredom. You're stuck in traffic, you're annoyed, you're just get me out of here. That's what they call reactive boredom.
I know that feeling all too well.
But then there's the kind of boredom that's more receptive. You're open to whatever thoughts and feelings come up. That's constructive boredom. And that's where the magic happens.
Okay, so it's about shifting our mindset about boredom, not seeing it as the enemy, but as a potential friend.
Exactly. And you know what? That's a pretty big shift for a lot of us.
I know I'm definitely guilty of trying to fill every spare moment with something.
We've been conditioned to fear boredom, to see it as unproductive. But what if it's actually one of our greatest assets?
That's a really interesting thought. And it makes you wonder, what are we missing out on by trying to avoid boredom all the time?
Maybe some of our most brilliant ideas. Or maybe just a deeper understanding of ourselves. Who knows? But I think it's a question worth exploring.
So, dear listener, here's our challenge for you. Next time you find yourself feeling bored, resist that urge to reach for your phone. Just sit with it for a bit.
Embrace that quiet space. See what happens.
You might just surprise yourself with what you discover. And who knows, maybe you'll even stumble upon your next big breakthrough. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And remember, sometimes the most fascinating discoveries come from the most unexpected places.